So, this castover is 2v2 games, and Mesk and I did it together. Unfortunately, I woke up right before doing this and downgraded to the wrong version, or backdated to the wrong version, and as a result, we had a desync in the early stages of the cast, which is unfortunate because it's actually kind of entertaining. But I'll upload that as a separate video unlisted and release it for your viewing pleasure before we get absolutely owned. Anyway, on to the actual functional cast, and enjoy Mesk and I doing some 2v2s. Okay, well, we're back. Heavy is the head that just woke up, so I totally had the wrong fucking version here, and we're just gonna go right back into it. I'm sure things will make a lot more sense now that we have the right version.
Mm-hmm. There might be differences here and there. Strange. For example, the colors are very different.
Oh yeah, that's
now
true.
Shambler is dark and progressive.
Yeah, so this is an error that was reported to me by DF, where the player color magenta is being rolled, but it has to be banned because, as you can see, it doesn't actually work. So if you look at
Oh shit, this is using the water palette. I love this color. I used it all the time on my mods.
It's using the player color indices, and as a result of that, it becomes absolutely unreadable. So, you know, it's good to know that...
It becomes the water indices, actually. If you look at it very carefully, even the text...
Yep.
It is glowing, and I use that all the time in my projects, although I use some brighter ones than this. The higher-end indices, that would give you...
Yeah,
although I think with Shakuris it'll still be dark.
It's always like that because it's tile set dependent. It gets converted based on the fact that it's...
It gets fucked in Space Tile Set in particular.
Well, in Space Tile Set and in Installation Tile Set, by default, it's actually just the giant, really bright purple, because it's like it's like as if your name and your units were just like player colored like they are in the GP. So... that's the point of that color, but then we replaced it in space and we don't use installation because it's for fucking micro missions. So
yeah, micro missions are really gross. Like, you actually get cooties if you play them, and you don't want cooties. That's bad.
Definitely not the case. Definitely not what we want. So yes, 2v2. We have the Shambler going up against his brother Mystery Meat that they keep meeting in the grand finals. Mystery Meat is Protoss alongside DF, who is Oof, and of course Benno is here as Terran to help Shambler out. They are playing on Twin Steps, which is a map by Shambler. He's tried to improve it over time and make it so that it actually, you know, has some sort of gameplay direction, some sort of
steps.
pathing, some steps. In fact, yes. Obsessed
he
with
needs to add some stairs.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I can sympathize.
Yeah.
I think Benno can too. He is Terran. He's the one. He's the sole Terran. He needs to make a lot of feet.
He does, actually. He definitely does. Now, every time they played a game, I think at the conclusion of the game, Benno said, sorry. Every single game. So I don't know what happened. But
I guess being polite.
I guess we're about to find out, yeah. Oh man, that scribe stays alive. Just being hunted down mercilessly by Cyprian after Cyprian.
Well, if it stays there long enough, there will just be a Cyprian for every pathable tile inside this area.
We can certainly hope so.
Skith inbound.
Skith inbound. Yeah, I don't know how the chat works in this. I speculated when we tried to...
He probably just sent it to all.
Yeah, maybe.
That's what I figured.
So this is the kind of thing that I would look at, and I would say, hey, Shambler, you can probably survive long enough to pick up a worker. And if you're going to go with the Skith stuff, then... I mean, I guess in the sense he's, like, pressured out a Warden. He's, you know, pressuring out certain responses from DF, where DF is thus moving around and not actually fighting and posturing aggressively. Meanwhile, you look at the double rogue gallery opener from Mystery Meat. You got some bar guests. So that's going to be its own thing. And I think the Skith did see that. So
yeah.
Instantaneous spray Cesiant. Now, the thing is, we were talking earlier, like, Benno got bar guested earlier by Shambler, but you pointed out he didn't actually see the building. So he might not know what the response to this is. And he's not building
It's up to Shambler to let him know that he's got to guard his loins here.
Right.
Although, they're not quite as bad as they were before, where if you saw 3 Bargus, you may as well just, like, alt F4 immediately because they'll just annihilate your entire worker line and anything else that tries to fight them, but...
Yeah, I mean, it's a combination of the Bargus getting reduced in terms of power and workers in general getting much more durable. That helped out a lot with that, where all the workers basically got, like, 15 bonus health. Masons in particular went up just by 10, so it went 60 to 70, but the Droleth and the Scribe have effectively 15 bonus HP.
God, it's so hard to see Shambler on the map now.
Yep. Absolutely.
The mini map in particular is just black against black. You're just looking for the little when they're isolated out and you see the you can't see the screen at all.
Try to track his camera position, dude. It is
if you're paying attention, you can see it overlap with things, and that's about it. Shambler is like literally a ghost in the machine.
Yeah, that's definitely the case.
Now there is an anchor behind Shambler's resource line. He can put Drelliths in there to ward off those Barghests.
Quite possible. He's actually getting another set of, no player expanding just yet. I say that, of course, there is a treasury going down for Benno. So that's one of the balance changes. One of the many balance changes that ended up coming in was treasury is slightly more expensive. And this is basically just to make it so that it's a little bit more of a commitment in the early game if you want, as Terran, to go for some sort of tempo-based expansion. I've been trying to increase the reason you might go for ministries over treasuries, and like basically just make that an actual decision instead of like obviously you would always go treasury. I think for your natural you might always go, but for the future basis afterwards, it can be a little bit more.
I'm kind of always incentivized to go ministry because I tend to forget to make the quarry.
Right. Okay. The quarry is also more expensive now, so it's also
it has gas costs. So I like to try to reduce the amount of things I can forget. Now. Oof. Of course, went fast embassy that I noted before too. He rushed embassy. It was like his second major tech building after the two gateways.
Yes.
He has a peeping Tom fetish.
He does.
He just likes to peep on people. Meanwhile, all of Benno's workers are getting annihilated.
There's a fucking trail
and I think
of blood.
This is about where it got desync last time, to be honest.
Yes, because around this stage...
You see, he pulled away now again. He did not do that last time, so it had already desynced last time.
Yeah, he just sort of gave up. So we're back in business, boys. We're back in business. And the fucking magenta, in air quotes, Hatteros building animation is always nice to see. We see that in the bottom middle. So. Now, again, if you want to subject your eyes to this shit, you can manually set this stuff up in your map. If you're making a map, you can set the player color to this. I can't stop you from doing that, as much as I probably should.
And the Barghests annihilate the Skiths. Just annihilate them. But... Yeah. 2 of them survived this time. In the desynced one, only 1 survived.
Yeah, I think there was less. Presumably, there was just like less Skiths overall. So now the Hydras are on the way. Maybe now we'll see the reason why Mist.
There's a few more Hydras this time around too. Yeah. So the time has been changed.
Yes.
The world will never be the same.
Decent number of Legionnaires starting. We're going to go up to 6 and Canada Moment. And then, dude, we can't even escape Canada Moments in the replay? What the hell? It's going to be a sequestered icon here for Mystery Meat. So he's going to be going Barghest into Vagrant into, I assume, Iquare, but we'll see. Yeah, good luck trying to see the mini-map with these Hydras, dude. He is in front of Mist
little
space.
Black morass.
Yeah, he is in front of Mist space. So I guess now we're starting to see, the shape of the match take place. The problem that I always see in 2v2 maps is that it does feel like you can just gang up on one player. But in this particular case, that's not really happening, right? What we're seeing is a whole lot of workers being contested. The Warden has been killed. Some of the Barghests... Like, in this situation, your army is basically forfeit. He's going to escape with, say, the Skits and the 3 or 2 Hydras or whatever. And obviously see that DF has been amassing units this entire time.
You have this polarity. Like,
yeah.
Benno is not an early aggression kind of guy. Shambler is an early aggression kind of guy.
Yeah.
There is not going to be much synchronicity between them in the first part of this game, or probably most of the games, I imagine.
Yeah, this is the first match, so we are seeing them start their partnership together. And I like the stacked witnesses just peeping on their own toms the whole time through. The army is a little bit async here from DF. He's charging forward with his Legionnaires, and most of them are already dead before the rest of his army gets there.
This is a lot different than last time where individual Hydras were standing here.
Yeah. Oh, here come the Cyprians.
There's still a mass, and there is... he died.
He did die.
He still tries to dive and surround them, but he still takes so much damage on the approach. It's almost not even worth it. You did say Aziricors are a little bit fatter now.
Yep, they do have +1 armor, so that's the main difference. It doesn't help with Drakedons, really, but...
Oof manages to come out of that. He's not going to be able to deal any lasting damage, though, but...
And look at this. There's already guards here for the Barghests. They're going to try to take out the Aziricor and the Hydras, and they will be successful based on the positioning. But, it's not that far away. So there's some what would you say? That he's bleeding out, right? He's losing out a bunch of workers on a bunch of sides here. And, okay, you're going to get your defenses up, but it's too late.
He did manage to kill the army, though. So he squashed all the army. He just got his testicles tickled. Some testicular torsion was
Yes.
placed on him.
Yeah, and
The
there's not
torsion
really
wizard.
there's not really much production for Benno or for, in fact, the other two Protoss players. So this is where Zerg can start to shine, where they can press an advantage. It's just when you lose so many workers, you have to choose between building additional military units and trying to press your advantage in terms of being able to remax faster, or do you replenish your economy and wait for another trade like that? Because the Protoss, they've got 3 production structures for Mist. Okay, yeah, there's more Cenotaphs and Gateways coming. But again, DF has 2 Cenotaphs and 2 Gateways. That's it for his entire army here.
He's seen the Holy Legionnaire path.
Yeah. Now, the one thing
Doesn't
to be
matter
said...
that they're nerfed.
Right. The one thing that should be said here is that Shambler is behind economically, behind all other players. He's only now getting his expansion trying to be set up again. So
Shambling.
He's got an action in the top right. I have to call that out because, again, look at minimap color.
Yeah, it's very easy. I didn't even know that his expansion was being attacked because you can see on the map it's just this little...
Canada.
Canada.
Well, he's going to chase down the scribes, which I guess is a good a choice as any. There is some military coming. Courtesy of Iquare, there's even some units getting slowed down on him before they finally move around. So he's losing the opportunity to potentially kill the Nexus, but it's unlikely that that would have happened anyway. And
yeah, he doesn't really have enough hydro licks, as Ricky would say. Canada. Canada. You see, Trudeau had to fail spectacularly at his marriage, so he's taking it out on us.
Oh, I didn't know that. Do we get a Canada news update in the middle of this cast over?
Absolutely, Canada news update. I mean, it was inevitable. Everybody who followed it knew that there was some cucking going on for sure amidst all that. Meanwhile, the Hydras are just going to be annihilated. Oh, Canada. Canada. It's being really good today. Really good.
It's a good thing
really
this
Canada
is a
moment.
replay cast and not a live cast.
This is 7:40 a.m.
Yeah.
It's not like, you know, prime time your cable is being siphoned by random people downloading stuff off of X-Hamster or something like that. No, it's just that's just how paying $140 for internet works.
Classic moves.
Good grief. There are witnesses just kind of peeping all over the place, fulfilling his fetish. But Shambler has made his own peepers. He does not want to be peeped on.
Yeah, he's got anti-peeper technology.
He doesn't really have anything to hide at the moment, though. He's not really doing anything. I think he's kind of banking for tier 2, or he's kind of like hoping that they don't just stomp him out of existence.
Yeah, he might want to spend some of those minerals. 1,000 minerals just went down, so he's going to get a bunch of Izira cores. But I think it might be a little bit too late to help Benno in this situation. There's some Kabbalas up for Mystery and a Cantor drop in the mid left, as well as the big
He's looking for workers, but
look at all the Cyprians on the ramp here. Benno's trying to take an engagement, but he's falling back when he definitely does not need to. He was definitely favored in that situation, and now the Hydras need to spring to life.
They have so many feet, though. Meanwhile, the Kabbalas are just going to kill his treasury because he's not going to lift it. But they're going to get cornered in here, so only Iquare can save them. But
look at all the bases dead. Oh, no. Oh, man. And you know what? That could have been a really big moment if Mist engaged awkwardly there. Now, DF's army gets wiped, but meanwhile, there's still Kabbalas on the third. All the Masons dying to the Barghest. This might actually be a quick wrap here because the Atlas only just got started. It's not like there's a lot behind
Iquare
this.
slurps away, and the Witness dies a miserable, disgusting death.
Oh, he saved one treasury. He saved the other one. He's going to land
the treasury is going to land right next to Iquare. Oh, but he's hopping up again. Do the jumping jacks. The Vargas are tickling him. The Mason dies absolutely terribly. Just disgusting.
See ya.
Nope. That's no good. There is a lot of money in Shambler's bank and no tier 2. I know that feeling. There it is.
Yeah, he got flustered. He got overwhelmed trying to build units and defend his homie. He's going to go for a macro hatch in the main. He's definitely feeling the burn, you can say. Now down to 17 workers, 19.
So many Iquares.
Doing his darndest. Yeah, there's just like Iquares like spinning around the map for some reason. They're trying to get to that rally point. Obviously in the top right there were a bunch of Izira cores, but they didn't really accomplish too much. He needed a bigger number if he was going to contend with the Barghests. And even still, like, considering obviously there's no armor pen on the Barghest, the fact that it does fire 2 times 5, so it was actually only dealing 3
And there's so many of them. There's just a million of them, so there's only really a few Izira cores. They're there mostly to get in your way and jiggle their bellies. Meanwhile, the Kabbalas are just kind of chilling out over here.
Yeah, protecting the base, making sure it
just denying it. Yeah.
They could just walk down here and kill this anchor and force a lift off again because there's nothing in that. But Oh, actually, he knows that there's nothing in that if he clicks on it, because when you detect a transport, you can see its cargo, and there is a witness there. So sort of a peep-off going on there.
There's so many Barghest, and they're just going the other way around. You know, if their army gets really overextended, the Barghest can just come in and wipe out Shambler's base really easily. Yeah. Unless he gets tier 2 defenses, those aren't even going to slow him down.
I think even with just only 2 spear tits, if that ends up happening, like they are paramount. But
yeah, you'd want to have Cyprians in that anchor to soften them up. Yeah. Oh, so there's a
big scuffle in the mid right. Yeah.
There's some Iquare in that shuttle down there too.
Yes.
Oh, so many Cyprians.
Yeah, there's going to be a load of worker
tries to
here.
push into it. That's an oof moment.
Well, it's okay. Meanwhile, he's just occupying because this drop is here, and the Barghests are just staying, guarded. The anchor's going to move over.
The anchor's coming over with nothing in it.
Get
in there, Shambler.
It's actually kind of good posturing because he might be worried about it, but yeah, he's going to know just by seeing that.
Slurped inside of it. It's okay. Now its existence is justified. Where'd the workers go? Did they all scuffle down?
They transferred over. The ones that survived transferred to the natural.
That's really dangerous going down there. You could have lost all of them to Barghest on the ridge or something.
Yeah, it wasn't end up being wasn't a thing. Now there are some.
Mystery was not able to capitalize on that. Now he's worried about these two, but he could just dive them. There's nothing stopping him from diving them. He is way more than enough. He just instantly wipe out everything Shambler owns. Maybe he's kind of hoping to bait Shambler down there to try to ward it off, but there are so many Cyprians coming up the top. There's 2 additional Iquares up there. Are they just going to single file? Oh my god. Nope, he's trying to move. He's trying to move.
He's not not really moving against it, opposite it. And the Wardens are positioned in such a spot that you can't really deal multiple damage. The Basilisks are in, but they can't really fight cliff advantage to Cantors. Here come the Barghests. They are revealed, but they're going to close the gap very quickly, and I think there's just way too many of them at this point.
There's so many.
They don't trade very cost efficiently, but they trade well enough considering how far ahead the top team was, and that's going to be GG. Our first match goes the way of the top team.
They came out on top.
They did. Oh, I just remembered, DF sent these replays in, not Shambler. So when I was thinking, why did we see DF allied chat? Well, now we know. That first match, that map is difficult, I think, to hold. There's also the, basically what I would describe as the fuck-off ledge in the back base there that the Cantors abused. So, in theory, it seems good because you're like, oh, I'm a mapper. I'm going to make it so that there's choices that people can do. And then, at the end of the day, though, it's really easy for a fast transport like an Envoy to get over there, or just for you to not have noticed something. And, maybe there's something to be said for offering those kinds of positional skill checks. Are you aware of the map? But on a bigger map like this, with bigger scale stuff going on, I don't know if you can justify, having such an easy opportunity to get a very, very powerful position. So, yeah, Myst will, of course, take advantage of those and teach you that, hey, maybe you shouldn't do this. Was obviously he was able to do that. And so was Shambler on crossguard in the one spot that I just decided, oh, that's probably far enough away that it's not going to affect anything. Well, I was fucking wrong. So that's one example for sure. And yeah, generally speaking, when you're looking at that, that might be one thing. Another thing I noticed about the map is that some of the minerals are placed in very specific locations that basically mandate that you path all the way around 6 other nodes in order to get to them, which basically means that they are dirt poor in terms of efficiency.
It's the leg day nodes.
Yeah, they're really far away in terms of actual absolute path distance. And then, or I guess it would be relative path, absolute is air. But you think about it in those terms, you're like, okay, well, that's not going to be very good. The wandering doesn't take into account distance to the node. It just takes into account, hey, this is an unoccupied node. So right now, we don't have really good support for stuff like that, where that will very significantly impact efficiency. At the very least, if you decide to make a node completely unpathable, you can't reach it at all until you deplete stuff, well, you can do that now because in Starcraft, that would just make it so that your units, your workers would clump up trying to get to an unpathable node, and none of them would be mining, and it would just ruin your efficiency. You basically have to micromanage your workers. So, yeah, at least that doesn't happen, but you might still want to avoid that. So for Shambler, since obviously that was his map, he might be able to have some ideas. And I know that he did make adjustments after that, but those are some things that stood out to me. I don't know if anything stood out to you, not just about the map, but the match itself.
There wasn't really much. Shambler tried to protect against the Barghests, but Benno obviously was a little out of the loop about some of that. And Benno could have warded off a lot of the Barghests with just one anchor in the bottom. The cliff with the Canhors, though, that wasn't going to be something they could easily deal with at all with it. With what
I think they
had.
needed air, to deal with that. And then it was being protected by the...
Yeah, you might say, well, maybe Shambler could use the obelisk to try to drop it. Well, the Bargus could just kill anything that goes near there.
Yes.
And that said, I think Mystery could have closed that game way sooner than he did. All he had to do was dive the main, especially when the armies were fighting in the middle. There was really just a couple things protecting the main. They weren't even tier 2 defenses. And the expansion, when the workers are being transferred to there, he could have cut them off and killed all of them as well. And the expansion that he was sieging was really vulnerable in much the same way, and that was basically all of Shambler's workers. So he was a little scared to commit to that. I think possibly because trying to force down buildings with the Bargus before wasn't really going so well. Well, the defenses aren't as tanky as the main structures, and they have a lot less health. So they can definitely be forced down very quickly. Plus, the splash damage is going to be killing workers ambiently in the entire process anyway. So just like diving into the sprites and killing them is going to kill like half the workers all in itself. And yeah, it was just like a little afraid to commit right there. So there was some hesitation, which definitely gave Shambler the possibility of going out. I think that moving out and attacking while there were so many Bargus and Icanors flying around was kind of risky because their army, especially Benno's army, is not very mobile at all. It's just all Cyprians.
Yes,
and
I was amazed they made it across the map, to be honest.
So. They can mount any defense they want by the time they get there. So the offensive killing power was not very high. They were much better at defensive
or containment. You could set up a bunch of anchors on various breakpoints for the army to stop. DF's army was very ground based, and then maybe it would have convinced Mist to try to use his Barghest for the sake of breaking that, and that would have at least accounted for that position. While they're unaccounted for, it's really, really challenging, I think, to do your best to make something out of that. So yeah, I would have to say that is true.
But I would say like Shambler had the right idea of what to do. You wanted to have basilisks, just needed to have enough of them, but they were so far behind at that point, and he had lost most of his hydras at that point, that he just wasn't in a position. It was already like snowballed to the point he was not going to get out of that. There was just too much shit. And then that cliff was just like unapproachable for him until he had basilisks. So yeah, just like maybe trying to pull the trigger out of desperation or something there. I'm not really sure, but whatever it was a misread of the state of the game to go and attack at that point. It really wasn't something you really wanted to do, because let's say that the attack was more successful and they were dealing damage. Well, the enemy has the mobility advantage with that force. They can just wrap around and either attack you or come back and defend. Like, they have that initiative because of the envoys and the Bargus. So yeah, it was going to be hard to make that work no matter what. But the Cyprians definitely could have warded off a lot of the potential damage. Like if Mystery had been more aggressive, the Cyprians could have punished him. But Benno wasn't really in a position to punish him at that point.
In any event, we're about to find out whether or not the same thing will happen, or whether or not we'll go 1-1. We do have 6 games to cast here, so I'll probably split this into a couple separate videos.
Kind of like 69.
It is kind of like 69. Yeah, you can see here in Shambler's position, he's back in the same spot. The mineral in the back is something that you really don't want to harvest. The first time he automatically, his worker picked that one thinking, oh yeah, that's, a good one to pick. Like, it does try to pick what's close to the worker at the time, basically, but that's not going to be very helpful here. So, same positions, and we do indeed have Protoss v. Protoss and Protoss versus Terran and Zerg. This time DF is swapped in terms of starting positions, and that's the extent of our changes.
Aren't envoys faster than Trojans? Like, substantially faster?
They are. Like the difference is that Trojans unload a lot faster, but in the case of the envoys, obviously you're going to be transporting heavier units, so that doesn't take into effect as much. But basically, Trojans can unload, like, I think they unload twice as fast as envoys and ovoliths. So that's like one example where they are specialized in some ways, or can be quite effective. Shambler's typing. So I guess top team wins
Shambler's
again.
Typing.
Pretty easy.
But the thing is that's what causes them in that, is that they weren't playing defense at the end.
Yes.
And like in the later half, they were trying to be too offensive. And that's what put them on the back foot a lot, is that they would go on the offensive and then they would get punished for it over and over again.
Well, it's going to be the same tactic. It looks like double rogue gallery opener. Will it be scouted by Shambler's Droleth?
It's in a different spot now. It's slightly different, not out in the middle.
Oh, he'll find it with the task order anyway. Meanwhile, he's getting tickled back at home, and he's got an idle worker. Absolutely disgusting.
So, okay, being tickled will remind him about the idle worker, maybe. Now he's got two.
No, he's got 2 idle workers. Now, he does find the double rogue gallery opener, so the same thing is happening, and he should be aware of it. Benno is watching this
tickled. There is
worker
a Cyprian
sass.
there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He will lose a worker. He's going to lose a worker. He's sass! How do you fucking lose a worker this early in the game, dude? How? I would LOL too. I would just question mark. That's what I would do.
Yeah, you gotta have manner pings in this, just like in League of Legends.
Oh,
where you get like people pinging question mark on you when you do anything at all. When you breathe. Meanwhile, the Benno's worker was murdered by scribes.
Absolutely sassed. All the rogue galleries are spinning. They are rotating.
Immediately building
Barghests.
the Kagrant to build shit.
Well, you know, it's funny because, like, similar to a Zorka's opener, right? You're not sure what kind of defense you should be mounting, and that's why maybe a rescout is in order. But, you know, the Barghest will defend the Skither core.
Well, I think it's a lot safer to defend against the Kabbalist than it is against Barghest. Where if you build a Circus and suddenly he has 3 Barghests, then yeah, he just can keep making Barghests, and at that point you can't really do anything at all. Whereas if you build a Spraith, then if he ends up switching to Barghests at some point, you know, you can deal with it. Meanwhile, it's a little easier to pick up where the Kabbalists are going because their ground units and their movement's going to be a little telegraphed of where they're going to end up. Right. That's actually one of the reasons why I burrowed, what was it, a Zethar core in one of those games in front of the bases, is I kept checking back to that just in case I might see the shimmer of a Kabbalist walking over it.
Oh,
also,
okay.
the Kabbalist might move over it and kill it, and then that would also tell you that it was a Kabbalist, because the Barghest is not going to spot it.
Yeah.
So there's a few things you can do to try to prepare against those, but you know, just having the Ovolith is just safe anyway. So the Spraith is probably the safer of the two, just to be certain. But, you know, again, the Barghest isn't quite as scary as it used to be, where it just delete your resource line immediately.
Yeah, there might be a bit of an overreaction here, because Shambler's gone for double Ovolith, which is a decent amount of both minerals and
I guess
gas.
one's going over to Benno.
Yes, that's going to be the reason why. But that means that his expansion is delayed, his other tech is going to be delayed.
Ovoliths are expensive.
Yeah. And in this particular case, the count is low enough that realistically you don't... I mean, you can't really know that the count is low enough necessarily, but you don't need the Ovolith to get the jump on the an early attack.
At least we can see Shambler on the map now.
We can. Unfortunately, he's on attack move instead of focusing down the pylon, because he definitely could have killed that. Or at least done more damage to it before DF's Gateway Army was put together there. Yeah, some awkward micro there, but don't worry. Shambler's definitely not going to type.
Nah, he never types. There is the fast embassy again. And a fast matrix, actually.
Yeah,
I'm not sure if a matrix is really super mandatory against a small number of skits early on. Matrixes don't feel like they're as strong as they really used to be for warding that off, but the warding, just like killing 1 or 2 skits, shuts it down immediately anyways. They're very, very expensive. I think that securing kills against early skits is better than damaging them, because you, first of all, stopping them from getting to a critical mass.
Yep.
And, okay, I mean, I guess you could just build an extra 3 wardens and call it a day.
One of those is a pylon, but yeah, I don't know. DF likes his static defense.
Oh, one is a pylon, okay.
The significance here is that it allows his army to move out without really worrying too much about Skither cores raiding his base, right?
Yeah.
Because they, compared to ground units, the air units in the early game have less offensive power, but much more mobility. So a couple static defense structures is enough to ward them off relatively effectively.
I think in a 2v2 you can afford it too, because, if you are moving out, the defenses can help your ally as well. So your ally can protect you or whatever. Like, it's a little less punishing. It's less like, oh, this investment's going to really set me behind, as it would in like a 1v1.
Meanwhile, bottom left is getting absolutely sassed. This is where the Ovolith would have actually come in handy, but it was not on the right base.
He needed to have some defenders in hand to actually stop this, though. There's quite a lot of units.
He only had the one anchor with the 2 Cyprians, and when you're considering the idea that there's going to be a big move out here... Oh, speaking of, Skittercores were just sniped by DF's army, and there's only a small handful of units here, so this is not going to end very well whatsoever. A bunch of Cyprians are moving out to help, but I think at this point...
he's quickly marching back home.
Yeah, there's not too much going on there. So Mystery's already successfully isolated one of the expansions. Meanwhile, the other one is being spotted by DF. And it seems like it's better synchronicity, better teamwork so far for the top team. Myst has an
it's like
already.
the two of those are aggressive players.
Yes, yeah.
And they're both playing as Protoss, so they telegraph what they do to each other very, very easily. They don't even need to talk about it. Whereas in this, it's kind of like Benno, I think, is still kind of playing catch up, and Shambler obviously has a very different idea of what he wants to do, and is just kind of like trying to make it happen, but.
Well, DF's going to move up.
Either way.
Cyprians are here to
this
respond.
This is very familiar sight here.
Yes, I think DF's army is going to be lost, and then the Barghest can come in and try to help with the... the Cyprians can try to help versus the Barghest. They are going to go after the expansion, and I think they should be able to deny it. Yeah.
Yeah. The Cabalists will easily kill it. That's the advantage of them, is they do 40 damage. If you want to kill the base, you can. Just easy. Benno is, like, not sure what to do. I guess I'll go up.
I mean, this is still a scary army down here, and the treasury is just going to get sat on again.
Yep. I don't know. Benno, it seems like he's not really like following what's going on in the bottom part of the map half the time. Like, there's forces down there. Where are they going to go? They're probably not going to dive your main. Yeah. They're going to keep prowling around for any other expansions. You're building one right next to it that's completely undefended. What's going to happen? Didn't even cancel it. It just instantly died.
So here's the thing, right? Benno is in a power position to just jump up here, ignore the fact that there's units on the ramp, just focus them down, force them down. There's not much here. Like, there is going to be an Iquare soon, so the Akantor is out. But, he has got an opportunity to do some damage, and those Barghests almost got absolutely...
Yeah, they almost made a terrible mistake. They just got grazed, though. He almost lost all of them. Could have definitely lost all of them really quickly. But now Benno got kind of cold feet. Yeah. Thinks there's more up there than there really is. And now they're just going to kind of like...
Yeah.
They're going to try to pick him apart, but they still are clumping up. The Kabbalists are kind of having a moment. He's blocking out.
All right, well, he did end up losing a lot of them.
He was better just not attacking because he was holding up half the army for so long blocking it. You could just make like a little surround and they can't get out.
Meanwhile, DF is building a whole host of defenses on his side of the map, and there's okay defense over here as well with the second Akantor out. That's going to ward him off.
There's like 6 Hydras coming over there. I'm not sure what Shambler is hoping to accomplish with this, but it's not going to be very much.
I think he's just probing to see what's up. He'll see that they're in an entrenched position, and this is a spot where he should try to expand again. They've cleared out a lot of the cloaked units, right? There's only 1 Kabbalist and a handful of Barghests left. Now, there are more, well, I guess there's more than a handful, and there are more in production, so they need to confirm that there's still Barghests out on the map, but... Yeah, I think what they really need at this point is more expansions. Benno's got the right idea. He's taking a natural again. Shambler's going to take a very distant base, which I'm not sure is super advisable. And at least the Hydras might be able to shut down this third, as the Nexus is very, very low on HP. So it will be canceled. Maybe he can do some damage.
Witness is finally put down after following Benno's Cyprians across their little roundabout as they find one stray pylon and squish it.
Well, there's another Kabbalist moving around as well, and yeah, the Hydras are about to get toasted. Not really too much focus fire. A handful of kills,
but
yeah, it looks like only 2 Barghests went down for that, which is obviously very, very efficient. DF trying to take a natural finally. Might get stepped on by Benno.
Yeah, the second he starts it, maybe if he remembers he was going to start it.
No, I think the scribe is
just not going to remember. It's just going to get squished.
Which is fine. It just means that... Oh, come on, Benno.
Oh.
Come on, Benno. No. Nah, Benno. You got to finish that. Didn't you remember...
He hasn't learned.
Dude, there was a castover where you did this exact thing versus Mesk, and he killed you. Come on, bro.
This scribe could be the end of you. You don't know it yet.
I mean, it's just like good practice, right? That means another scribe has to be sent over there in order to start it, and now it can just start it whenever the Cyprian force is cleaned up.
Oh, this ledge advantage is going to cause him a lot of headaches.
The Ovaleth was there for spotting. He doesn't finish the job on the Akantor, and one more volley would have killed it. And yeah, he's going to start getting chased down.
He wants to focus them down, but...
No, unfortunately, he's not got the
Cyprians aren't the most mobile of units, so it didn't go too well.
Kiting with them is not super good. I mean, at least killing an Akantor there, it would have been the best option. When Shambler had a bunch of units up here, like the first time in this attack, and he started to get engaged upon by Barghest and a couple of other units. In that situation, you want to pick off the high-value targets that you can, that are actually possible, because your army's good and dead. Instead, Shambler in that case evacuated, but only survived with like 5 units out of his considerable attack force. Meanwhile, all of those Barghests were able to stay alive. You could have focus fired them a little bit.
Oh no, this is a familiar situation for Benno. His feet have nothing in them.
Not only do they have nothing in them, but that
he doesn't even lift them up. You got to do the juggling, no? Like what I did against Shambler. You just keep juggling. You got to be the juggalo.
Make it
no
slightly
detection
more
over
annoying.
here now, so there's... Didn't manage to get a couple Barghests out of that, but dropping Ike-Power right in front of the firing squad of Ahmed was not necessarily the best choice.
Attempted third base here is going to get focused down by DF's forces. He has some Atreus's to deal with these Gorger cores, so the sustained damage is eventually going to catch up to him. But here come the Hydras to focus them down, and the Hatrosk still taking a lot of damage. So in that context, actually, DF comes out with not really being able to say too much other than he killed the Hatrosk, which is always valuable.
He killed a couple of Gorger cores, so he managed to make some budget out of that, but he probably was hoping for more damage than that.
Yeah, Droleth will be remade there, and looks like the Akantor and Envoy combo.
Akantor has killed so many.
Oh my goodness.
There's so many bodies. It has 34 kills. 36.
Make that
Someone
37.
stop this
Diablo 3, baby.
Oh shit, it's the Diablo 3 number. Like Jay Wilson said, double it up. And fuck those losers.
Well,
he can snipe these Mavericks on the ledge very easily right now, but he shows mercy. As Shambler charges the front.
He sees Ahmed, dude.
Yeah, you got to be wary of Ahmed.
Absolutely slapped.
He saw Ike-Power on the ledge and just immediately just ripped out his modem and threw it against the wall, screaming in Chinese.
I still wonder, I don't know that the game was completely unplayable, but obviously they had an economic advantage. It might still have been useful for general practice in 2v2s to, see what you can do. And, it's something that I don't actually, unless it's in, ridiculous settings, like, obviously, the final game of Ascension 3 Grand Finals, where Shambler just refused to leave the game in Game 5, despite being totally hosed. In most cases, I actually say, hey, if you want to get more instincts, if you want to get more practice, if you want to do more things about get better understandings and intuition, start building that muscle memory, if you will, for the units and stuff. Yeah, it makes sense to stay in the game, even if it seems like all is lost. And also, I mean, come on, you yourself were proof of that in the Ascension playoffs, where you held out on Equilibrium, even though it seems like the game was lost. Some players would have GG'd. You found a way to tilt him. So there's always a path to victory, it feels like, until you're actually 100% dead. And maybe there's, even when you are 100% dead, it might still be useful for some other reason to do it. So, these are pickup games, right? They're not necessarily super competitive, right? They're just hey, let's try some 2v2s. But it's still worth, I think, maybe trying some stuff or seeing, testing your responses to things. And hopefully Benno doesn't feel too bad about getting absolutely ham-fisted by Mystery Meat, because I look at the way that he's been rolled, and it's by a lot of things which require knowledge and micro to respond to. You need to know that the way that Cloak works in this, and you need to know, hey, maybe I should get Ant Seals for detection instead of relying on my Zerg player to build a lot of Ovileths for me. He's learning a little bit. He's trying to be up on it. He's still got the instincts to expand and stuff. It's just the map doesn't really help him. It's not very safe. It's very vulnerable. So that's what I would say so far that I've noticed.
Yeah, I think I played on this map before. I'm sure of it. And
yes,
it's a very hard map to defend those expansions on. Very, very hard. I remember having a lot of struggles with that too, because it's so open. You can't really make a choke in most of these cases, except for one of the ledge between, I think, the fourth or third or wherever to the sides, and some things can shoot over there. But other than that, it's oh, suddenly there's units inside my base. Well, the only way for me to have done that is to have units literally in the middle of the map the entire time, and it just isn't really viable to do that. So it's basically the Ike-Power hunting grounds. I think it's a very, very strong map for Ike-Power, to be honest.
Very strong map for Ike-Power.
And Magicals. Magicals are also pretty dominant on that before. For pretty much the same reason, is that transports have very easy access to go.
All right, let's jump into this map. It's on Parabola. I also recommended against using this map because it like not for the same reasons, but it is also a map that is a little bit difficult to defend on until you kind of know what you're doing. But we'll see. Maybe Shambler and Benno are interested.
See, I remember
in
this map of me and Shambler playing. What was it? Was it Bitty Bee and Beaver or something like that?
I think it was. I don't remember who it was. But Beaver was definitely involved. I don't know if it was Bitty Bee on the other side.
They built a little fortress of Cyprians in the back where these geysers are.
Yes.
And it took until I got up tectons for us to be able to weed them out because nothing we threw at them could stop it.
Well,
they just killed everything, and they killed both of our main structures.
Yeah.
I was mining off of a gas, and we just had to build elsewhere in the map. We did eventually take that game. I think the replay desynced or something. It was the stupidest game I had played of 2v2 in this entire ever for this entire project.
Yes.
It was just you gotta make sure that you don't have Terran building on that ledge.
Well, the other thing to note about that is that was back when you could fit 4 Cyprians to an anchor. You know?
Yeah.
So that's
they turned in just a
it's
meat
just
grinder.
an absolute killing machine. Now, in this particular case, Mystery Meat has rolled Zerg or played Zerg or whatever. So it's going to be very different, and there will be a Zorkis opener here for Shambler, which is of note. And he's also going to be the one
Mystery
scouting.
actually went straight to a Kagrant opener, so he's just rushing straight into that quarry build.
Yes, he's going to go for Larvosk first, which is going to allow him to get more workers, I guess. I've never seen somebody do this. I've never seen somebody do this.
That's the greediest shit. This is what you call disrespect.
Yeah. He's like, hey, you know what, DF? You can do this. You got a gateway coming. You can defend me.
I mean, he probably can, just knowing that Benno is not typically super aggressive.
Yeah.
Maybe Shambler is going to encourage him to be more aggressive. Meanwhile, there's some tickling going on. It's frustrating Benno rather thoroughly. He's going straight to an anchor immediately in his resource line. He's been harassed so much by Bargus and other odds and ends. He just doesn't want to deal with it anymore. And that's precisely the situation Mystery Meat wants to be in, is that his opponent is going defensive, because then it allows him to do the cheekiest shit imaginable. But they did scout the Zorkis, so they know it's probably going to be either Lekizlis or Huggers coming. And in this case, it's actually going to be Huggers, because it's much more likely for them to actually cross the map within the same year than Lekizlis.
Yeah, it's interesting because, there's a Drakenid out, which is going to be good against both options, albeit a little bit better against the Gorgakor, which it will be, as you mentioned. The thing about this, though, is that the Zorkish Shroud is very far from being completed. And I think that alone, Mystery Meat is going to have some difficulty handling that. So the Gorgakor was sighted somewhere. Oh, yes, it was the thing that killed the scribe there, so that makes sense.
The scribe died. You can see its body. Fancy that. Meanwhile, Mystery's drone returns home with some gas. You like that, Matt? Try mine twice. No,
yes,
3 times.
It was
3 or 4 times.
that was the stupid base trade.
That game was funny. Is Sip okay? Now Benno asks for the insights, which I think was sent to all chat.
Yes, I think so. Well, the Gorgakor is here. It is getting tickled by double spray. The greedy opener has worked.
It has paid off.
And now he's
right
too
now,
low to do
Shambler
anything
is
about
ahead on workers, but
yeah,
just by 1.
Yeah, and there's his Larvosk.
He had to go defensive in Zorkas right after. I think that kind of killed the momentum from the fast Kagrant, but I mean, he has it anyways, and Shambler doesn't for now. It kind of just going to even out, though. It didn't really turn into something super major in the end of the day.
I mean, it might slightly upset Shambler that his opponent went Larvosk first and is not dead.
Yeah.
But, besides that, I think it's pretty much all you need.
I think he had to like all in with Zethakors or something to really punish that heavily, which was going to be hard to do in a 2v2 anyways. Meanwhile, again, DF goes straight to the embassy first. He just wants to peep on people. So long as he can see down their blouse, he's happy. Deep Dark Fantasy is fisting $300. Get some poppers in your surgeon mitts, lads. He's gonna be peeping. Meanwhile, Benno is absolutely terrified about being harassed again. But as a result, he's actually trying to protect his bases. Well, he's not going to be harassed this time, so the effort's not going to be really anything to merit. In fact, it's Shambler just getting harassed, trying to scout here, and just being tickled relentlessly.
Yeah. 3 Lekizilisks.
That's 3, and they'll definitely ward off these Gorgakors. Don't want anything to do with that.
Yeah, if there had been a really heavy committal towards Gorgs, that could have been scary because, again, like, the Spraiths can die to those.
Yeah.
They are pretty durable, and they do a decent amount of damage. A very expensive unit for the Zerg to get this early on in large numbers. It will be a Lekizilisk drop, heading into the upper right now, descending upon what seems to be going to be a DF's base, but well fortified against this because the embassy's already finished, and as a result, you will see a witness out of sooner or later. So
meanwhile, the 3 Lakislus from Mystery, I think that they might have been spotted, but they had moved out before after the Gorgs had disappeared and they weren't spotted. So I don't know if Shambler is aware. I saw him burrow, so I thought momentarily he might have been spotted and he burrowed just to be safe. But if he was burrowed, then yeah, this will be easy to defend. But if he had come in without any awareness, they could have actually done a huge amount of damage. And meanwhile, Shambler is killing a Droleth and forgot about his Ovolith sitting on. Nope, now he's got it. There it goes. It's on the way.
He does have an Ovolith back at home, so he can try to defend versus these Lakislus, but
I don't think he's aware. Oh, no, now he is. He's definitely aware now. He saw them.
This is not going to end very well for Mist because obviously they can't attack up. So as soon as he remembers that he has that Ovolith.
He can't do too much at this moment. He's trapped between a man and his fist.
Here come the DF units.
There's some... He dropped his shit on the ledge out there. There's nothing even over there.
No,
probably hoping for an expansion. Oh, the Lakislus just sneak right into Shambler's butthole. Oh, here they come. Testicular torsion is once again spinning. Oh, God. Oh, it's a massacre. They all get hooked up on each other.
The response time was not really great. And the Ovolith is also pulled away, so that's not what you want.
Benno has arrived. Emotional support. Meanwhile, now that the Gorgs are back, Oof is just going to charge the ramp. Everything is going to die miserably. How it's disgusting. Benno unleashes the Cyprians.
Well,
and meanwhile, Mist comes back and just destroys this expansion very slowly. Very slowly. Oh, he's got his own Gorg, of course. Oh, so begins the hugging battle.
Yeah, this is going to be silly. The split was
hugging
attempted.
Battle. He wants to bait them.
Why did Shambler not notice he has an Ovolith? He could have shut this down so easily.
He was terrified of the hugging. He did not want to be hugged. Meanwhile, those Lakislus that were dropped unceremoniously on the ledge with nothing to do now fly forward straight into a pair of Drakenins passing the scribe. But Oof is not paying attention. He's not aware. Hiding on this ledge. Oh, go for the scribe. You may as well deal emotional damage. No, and he's fleeing. Bye.
Oh, there goes one of the
Lakislus and shuts those down, but there is a witness spying on him. DF is the true winner, compiling his collection of cringe.
Quasrock Pool in the natural for Mist as he starts to set that base up.
It's okay. Shambler will match this with his own Quasrock Pool.
Yeah, that is true. I mean, the worker count is clearly favoring the bottom team, although obviously Benno does have the most workers out of anybody.
Oof never paid attention. He did not notice that Ovolith floating around his Drakenins getting shot at down there, and it has been permitted to shit on his ledge once again.
It's just doing nothing.
Awaiting the time to snipe one or two scribes out of the middle of nowhere, patiently. Playing the long game on that.
Here we go.
It's going to start tickling. And it begins. Oh!
Instant response. At least the pylon is within range to
Instant confusion.
And he's out. See ya.
Bye.
What the fuck?
Well, you know, it was a
Look at the morass of Gorgs coming down, too.
They're coming, and you know all these Drakenins are nicely bunched up. If he engages them as is and hard commits right away, he can probably kill every single last one of them. But he found an Ovolith. Oh no, wait, those are mysteries. Not even. I thought those were Shambler's Gorgs. I got confused. It was like, oh, Shambler's coming in with all in everything he had to try to finish this off before it went anywhere. No, it was mystery. That's not good. That means they're just going to come over there and kill that Lakislus too as soon as the
Oh, look at this. There was a mixed drop there. 2 Cyprians, 2 Mavericks in that Ovolith. Unfortunately, they got slapped by Gorgorcors.
The effort was made.
Yeah, I like the idea. That's pretty neat.
And the Lakislus is also destroyed.
Finally.
But Shambler is just amassing Gorgorcars. He will have his own hugging squad eventually. His worker count's not so amazing, but then again, DF's is not so amazing either, at least for the time being.
Third base getting assassed. Oh, he cancels it immediately instead of letting it occupy the attention. That's something you always want to do, even if you're not interested in defending it. I mean, you had the Ant Seal. I feel like it could have gotten there in time to help out. But
Lakislus actually took a very long time to destroy that Hatchrost, so
yeah,
they're not super fast at killing buildings.
Meanwhile, all of the units in the entire map returned home because Benno was attacked in the other opposite corner, and now he's going to start setting his attack.
Benno is doing something different, though. He's going for Goliath Cleric.
Yeah, he's starting to
That's
add
been
those.
proven to work. That may be from the suggestion of Shambler when he asked what to do early in the game. So something different is afoot. Meanwhile, there is an architect being built by Oof. In addition to, of course, you guessed it, more and more witnesses. Eventually, there will not be a single inch of this map that is not being peeped on. There's so many Gorgacores from Mist. He is just going all in. Not even bothering with tier 2, just Gorgacores. So many of them. That's a little dangerous, though, because, well, Shambler may have less Gorgacores, but if they all stack in each other, it's still a lot of damage that gets put down anyways. And Shambler does also have a lot of Gorgacores. This is going to be disgusting.
It's going to be silly. The
It's gonna be
NCL's
the
following
group
them
hug
around. They
marathon.
are going to go ahead and see the witness there and clear that out, so no more peeping on the spot there.
Miscommits anyways. The hugging wars are about to begin.
Do you like his oscillating uppercase, lowercase on his unit name? Oh,
Yeah.
of course. They spotted out the Gorgs, but Shambler's taking
the
a very long
chase is
time.
on.
Yeah, there you go.
Well, I don't know if Shambler really wants to engage this up front. He'd prefer probably to fight over some defenses, but they're more liable just to destroy his expansion if he lets them. Oh, the tickling! Oh,
Okay, let's talk about ZVZ, boys. We got some very silly things happening here. The NCL just gets fucking eaten incidentally. Well, all right. I think maybe we see who wins that fight.
just a small animal in the way of a semi-truck. But the 3 Zethicores.
They're here. They're gonna
They
tickle
have
that
arrived.
space.
Fuck this Spraith colony. They're actually destroying it pretty goddamn fast.
Course.
Meanwhile, that
That Asheroth just
expansion
got
is
fucking melted immediately.
instantly erased.
Well, some Trojans
Now-
are being put together here by Benno, who
The
doesn't really want to move his
Gorgacores
own.
have to fly all the way across the map. Oh, never mind. He made his own Zethicores. Hey, look, it's Zergling Blood. Welcome to 1999, boys. Benno has arrived.
Will we see the updated Quasilisk? Will it show up? Probably
Oh,
not.
shit. You guys have an updated Quasilisk. That's right. Solstice did things again. What a productive young man.
Tier 2 on the way for Mystery in his main. I think it's
Meanwhile,
Pipe Dream
Benno
here.
has so many minerals, he could make a lot of Mavericks.
He could.
A Benno quantity of Mavericks.
He's making Harakans. That'll help versus Gorgacores, which are now moving to the mid-right.
Just have them mount the Anseal like a horse.
What a terrifying
You know,
concept.
those random units from Benno are in a collision course for tens of thousands of Zethicores.
Well, he's not retaliating or moving his Goliath in any way.
No,
Instead,
he's
gonna move all the way.
intimidated.
Look at his
He's being-
natural.
he's
Oh my
being
god,
annihilated.
Ahmed, help!
Ahmed has arrived! Ahmed has arrived. Oh, shit. He's running away. Dude, you have like 30 Gorgacores. Why are you running?
Oh, it's alright. The witness died, so it's a fair trade. Dude, what is happening in this game?
What is happening? Okay, now they've amassed up. Now it's scary, but he could have just killed all those Goliaths immediately and stopped him from reaching such a huge number. Now the Zethicores have changed path. They're coming around. Single file armies just moving around. There is an inevitable clash of Benno and Oof in the making here.
Yeah, but he's got the cliff advantage here. Although there
Got
was
the height
actually
advantage, Anakin.
there was a bit of a tile bug here in this spot that I did end up fixing. That's why I mentioned this map was updated. So unfortunately, DF will get a little bit cucked by that because he'll have to get around on the low ground to get vision. So he's getting memed. But, you know, he has witnesses, so he can do that.
The
too.
Zethicores have arrived. Oh, shit. But the Trojans are full of Ahmed. Ahmed could destroy them. Ahmed could save this.
Ahmed, help! No, not all
Ahmed
at once.
has arrived.
Oh, there we go.
Ahmed.
Fucking burn him, boys. Dude, tell me that wasn't satisfying.
Annihilated.
Yeah, I'm tempted to make the Gorgacore play the thumbnail for this video because it's just so stupid. There's like a million of them. Meanwhile, Goliaths are getting tickled by Architects in the middle of the map, and the Anseal is here, but a little bit late.
The
and already
Anseal
out of
has
the way.
arrived. The Cyprians have arrived.
Oh my god!
My god. Oh my god. Oh, it's a massacre.
No!
Oh no.
The Cyprians
Now
are doing
has
some
arrived.
damage, but yeah, I think that was too much. Too many losses there.
Oh, the Anseal's gone.
Zealots are engaging onto the Goliaths. That's
Too
gonna be
young
it for
and
them.
pure for this world.
There's so many Gorgacores. And remember, Tier 2 is still also done by back at the base, so... My goodness. Just think about what the
Shambler
battlefields
knows
look
the
like.
writing's on the wall,
Yeah.
but Benno has some beef. Watch out for the Architects. They're also very good against Gorgacores.
And they're also pretty
Same.
reasonable against Goliath Cleric because of the splits, but unfortunately for DF, his Drakedins are dancing, so...
Whenever I see Gorgs, I just go straight to Architects. They won't do anything offensively most of the time unless you're in a position like this, but they do stop them from doing hit and runs on you. Just very, very slow. In this case, though, it just means that Shambler can't really approach that. But there's so many Hydras and one Architect slowing them all down. Ahmed murdered some more Zethicors. All those Zethicors on the right side of the map all died to Ahmed, but kind of looks like he might have forced down that treachery in the process. Meanwhile, Mystery is denying this top left expansion with some Zeths. There was some blood over there too, so I think there was a kerfuffle, but no, there's going to be 10,000 Bactylisks soon.
Yeah, tier 2 is
10,000
done,
Azera cores.
but there's no Hydrock, right? The Leveril Pond, okay, so maybe we're going to see some Lyrilisks.
Just the Bactylisks alone is going to be basically impossible for them to deal with at the moment.
Yeah, this is so many units, guys. Check the top right. There's 88 military units for Mist, so that's going to be pretty considerable here, and he can select them all in one go.
Yeah! Now, all the Draconins being in the way kind of makes it a little hard, but it's okay. He has 80,000 Gorgocores to go on with it. This army has never died, so it's just kind of hung around the entire game.
It's continued to mass up. Here come the Goliaths as well as some Achmeds. Some of these Gorgs are actually taking some damage.
There. They will deal some damage.
Yeah, they
but
dive
there's just
on
so many of them, though.
They're starting to eviscerate the base. That's a really important base for Mr. Shambler to have. He doesn't really have any units here. He's borrowed his workers for whatever good that is, but there's a witness detecting them. DF's Peeping Tom strategies have worked out yet again, and he has a single Draconid across the bridge as the rest of the units just spin out, and Shambler rage quits.
Mystery's job was made too hard difficult by Oof. Can't even get his units in there. He had so many more that couldn't do anything. Just trapped amidst the sea of beef and legs.
Well, that was a game.
That was just straight up, just outperformance really in the long run.
Well, we're coming up on the hour mark, so I guess we'll split the video here. And if you're down to do this now or later, we can just keep on casting.
I am down to do this. I can keep going. I'm just going to take a pee and grab some coffee.
All right. In that case, we'll see you after the coffee and pee.
I got to make piss, and then I got to piss, and then I got to make more piss. It's a piss world.
Hey, Mystery was yellow, so I think he was the piss.